This video begins to look at some of the ethical and cultural issues of computer science and ICT, of which there are a lot. So this video is longer than the usual videos. Let's begin by just having a little look at legal versus ethical. Like, what's the difference between legal issues and ethical issues? So legal is what is actually allowed in the eyes of the law. So while one thing might be legal to do, it might not necessarily be ethical or moral to do. So ethical is what is considered to be right and wrong by society. So for example, it might be legal for you to do one thing, however, it's morally wrong and just not right to do such a thing to people, which would cause it to be ethically wrong. So what exactly is meant by cultural issues? A cultural issue is when you have a group of people with a particular set of beliefs or a certain practice or a particular language which may be affected. For example, specific ethnic groups or religions and people from different countries will have different cultures than those from others. So why exactly do we need to be ethical? Companies only technically need to follow the law. They can still do things that aren't actually ethical to do. If they do this, people can lose trust in the company. So many companies have got a code of conduct to ensure that all employees follow the same standards. Here's an example of poor ethics in business. There's a toy company called Mattel, which basically sent toys to China to be manufactured so they could save money. When the toys came back, they were coated in toxic paint and had poorly attached magnets which could actually damage your intestines if you swallowed them. So obviously these were really harmful to children. So Mattel had to recall the toys from the shelf, and then they just got loads of negative press from it. So they got a bad name for themselves by not being particularly ethical. So when it comes to business, you basically have people called stakeholders. Now these can be individuals or groups of people. A stakeholder is normally an individual or a group that has got an interest in a particular scenario or that is affected by a particular scenario. So examples of stakeholders could be the actual owners of a company, the employees of that company, the local community around the business, or customers. Each stakeholder can be affected differently by a particular scenario, and each stakeholder has different priorities. For example, stakeholder as a customer, your priority is to get the best value for the best product that you want. However, as the company owner, you want to make as much profit as possible. One of the biggest ethical concerns is privacy. And the big question is it even possible? Many websites and social media require users to provide personal information, such as your name, your address, your age, interests even. Social media actually encourages this. It asks you to like pages, it asks you to state your hobbies and interests. Cloud computing also allows you to upload your personal files to servers. Now who's to say what is actually getting looked at on those servers? Who's seeing your information? Some companies actually make your information available to other website users and put a little tick box somewhere that you don't really read properly, and before you know it, all your information's been shared. One of the ways that companies get around this is by creating what we call a privacy agreement. So once you've agreed to a particular policy, the company can do whatever they like with your data because you've agreed to that privacy agreement. So you usually get asked to accept this privacy agreement or tick a box about sharing data. A lot of people don't even read this or understand what they're doing before they tick it. Sometimes you don't actually have a choice to proceed unless you do agree. So in other words, you can't create an account unless you tick this box. Obviously, you need to read all of the small print to see what people are doing with your data. So how exactly do we protect ourselves? You can take steps to protect yourself to make your information more secure. The main thing that you can do is to change your privacy settings and also to share less information. Another really big ethical issue is censorship. So censorship is when somebody tries to tell you what you can and can't see. So the biggest example that you'll be familiar with is at the cinema. You are being censored from seeing certain information by having a certificate applied to that movie. So if it's an 18 certificate, you can't see it, therefore you've been censored from seeing that movie. So internet censorship is when someone tries to control what other people see and access. The most common and famous part of internet censorship would be in North Korea and China. They've got the strongest restrictions for what people can access online. For example, North Korea restrict anything critical of the government and other social media sites to stop people colluding against the government. In Cuba, people can only actually access the internet from government-controlled zones. In other words, there's no internet in your house. Even the UK restrict access to certain websites. Another big ethical concern is surveillance. Now, this has been quite big in the news recently. Computer surveillance is when someone monitors what other people are accessing. Now, a lot of people think that this is unethical to do so. However, the intelligence agencies use packet sniffers to monitor internet traffic. So if surveillance was banned, they wouldn't be able to pick up things like keywords and phrases like terror and stop a lot of terrorist attacks. Your internet service provider keeps records of websites visited for legal reasons. So people are always watching what websites you visit. It's just worth bearing in mind that, you're not as private as what you think. So some people say that it's unethical to release so many ICT and digital devices because it can affect people's social well-being. So new technology is being released all the time and people get pressured into buying and upgrading. If you haven't got the latest phone, if you haven't got the latest device, you can get bullied in school or get peer pressure to buy things when you don't necessarily need to do so. Smartphones can actually intrude into your work and school life. So how many people are not supposed to have a phone in school, but they do so? And it starts affecting the school life because you're either distracted or there's some sort of personal issue that's preoccupying your mind. You've also got the fact that your personal life can be affected because say you're at home and you finish school at 8 o'clock and you've finished work and it's 8 o'clock at night and you're getting emails from work. That's interfering with your personal life and a lot of people can get stressed by this. Also, face-to-face communication can actually be neglected because people are so engrossed into the phones and digital devices they're not actually communicating face-to-face anymore. Another really common ethical issue is cyberbullying. Now, cyberbullying is literally using social media to deliberately cause harm to somebody. So this includes three things really. Intimidation, so actually bullying someone, threatening them over messages and things online. Humiliation, so sharing images and things to try and mock a person. And defamation, so creating kind of rumours and things about someone's personal life and spreading it around. Another ethical issue is trolling. Trolling is when someone tries to create public arguments online. They try to cause problems. So it's when they deliberately try to inflame a situation. An example of this could be someone like Piers Morgan regularly tweets controversial things, which obviously grows his presence around the globe, but also makes him pretty much universally hated by a lot of people. IT can actually have a number of different health issues. For example, eye strain is something that can occur if you stare at a screen too long, you work with bad lighting, or if you've got sunlight glaring through the window. This can actually quite badly damage your eyes. There's repetitive strain injury, where your neck, wrists, shoulders, etc. can become strained from repeated movements and from sitting in a poor position. You can also develop back problems. Sitting at a computer too long or in any real uncomfortable position can cause joint and back pain. So there are actually guidelines from legislation about health problems with IT, and the basic summarized recommendations are that you need to take regular breaks. You also need suitable equipment, so you need an adjustable chair that can adjust in height and also be able to move easily across the floor. You also need some sort of glare protection, whether that's with blinds over the windows or with something over the screen to protect you from the screen glare. You also can get ergonomic keyboards, which can help against wrist strain. And you're also supposed to have a footrest so that your feet aren't in an uncomfortable position while sitting down. Another ethical concern is for business. Now, music, television and games are now nearly all online through streaming and download services. If you think about it, things like Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and obviously PlayStation and Xbox allow you to download all of your games. So something called sharing economy is when you use your stuff to make money. For example, Uber to use your car for money. This is a key term that you will need for your exam. Now, the negatives of this, the ethical issues, are that online businesses are damaging the traditional businesses. More and more online stores are popping up, which means the local community shops are starting to struggle to sell their items. Another ethical issue is that online services can be less trustworthy. So obviously you can't always rely on the person that you're buying from because you can't physically see them. Many people say that IT is beginning to shape our culture. Viral content is something called videos and images, which are online and spread rapidly. Advertising is now often online. Social media and blogging are giving people a voice against governments, against policies, against legislation. And obviously selfies are becoming more and more popular. So the whole of social media is littered with selfies of people, pictures of people. The culture is being shaped around this online technology. If you compare modern culture with culture from, say, 1950s, obviously then music was bought on records in a store. Now pretty much everybody downloads music or uses Spotify. If you think about movies, sit at home and stream your movie or go to the cinema. And that was the only option really. Selfies, people had big large cameras that were film based. They had to be processed. Now people take pictures and video almost everything that they do. Social media allows people to communicate hundreds of miles instead of having to send letters. So another big topic that could be covered for the purpose of this course, and also one of the main issues with ethical concerns really, is something called the digital divide. Now, the digital divide is essentially that some people have access to a computer and some people don't, and that starts to create a little bit of a divide in society. So there are a number of causes of the digital divide. I like to put it into this little acronym called MAKE, so it's easy to remember. So money is one of the major causes of digital divide. Some people obviously don't have the money to buy the devices needed to get access to the internet or to technology and computers. Areas. So urban areas have more network coverage than somewhere a little bit more rural and in the countryside. Knowledge. Some people don't have the knowledge or skills to actually use the technology. And finally, experience. We find that older people are not as experienced with the digital methods because they haven't grown up with it. So the digital divide can obviously be within our country, but there's also a massive global digital divide. Some countries just don't have the same access that we do. The internet, as we've discussed earlier, is also heavily filtered in some countries. Technology has obviously created opportunities for those with access and increased the inequality. In other words, obviously in a really thriving country such as ours, we have a lot more access to the internet. We have a little bit more wealth, so we're able to buy digital devices that we like. And we've also got more opportunities because our education is better. We're able to access things, we're able to learn at home. The people in these other countries don't have those things, so the inequality is increasing globally. One way to combat the digital divide is to try and target it head on, so projects have been set up to actually directly combat this issue. British community projects improve the internet access in rural areas, so we're trying to expand the internet access in areas like in Wales and places like that where there's a lot of mountains, there's a lot less access to actual technology. Anyone that's ever been to Colomendy knows that you can't really get much of a mobile phone signal out there. One laptop per child is one company that's a charity to provide computers to children in Africa and in other poorer regions of the globe. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you find it helpful and useful for your studies. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.